Doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you've been doing, but no one else does. Why would you put all that effort into your business and into your service and into your product and not tell anyone about it? How do you think your business is going to grow or thrive if no one knows what you're doing? And that's why we need to harness Facebook advertising, because it's so powerful in terms of reaching people and letting them know what we're up to. So, first of all, it's about the numbers. Some markets are quite static, but there's definitely still a lot of growth in our part of the world, which is why it's really worth considering. Facebook numbers are growing all the time. The number of people on the platform and the number of people active on the platform, it's growing in leaps and bounds. People spend a lot of time on Facebook, and they do it every single day. An average of 40 minutes a day on Facebook. That is huge. It's a lot of time in front of a screen with an opportunity to engage with people and hopefully sell product to them. Not only that, Facebook also owns Instagram. So some people are on Instagram more often than Facebook, but Facebook owns both platforms, and advertising stretches across both if you wanted to. It also owns WhatsApp, by the way. Watch that space. Facebook knows so much about us. Just have a look at this list. It's a guide to Facebook advertising and targeting, and basically it's something you could use when defining your customer. I literally go through this list occasionally and highlight all the characteristics that I think are relevant to my customer, and it's helped me to grow and build my Facebook audiences. So demographics, and look at all the different things underneath demographics. Connections. Interests, look at it, hobbies and activities, entertainment, business and industry, technology, sports and outdoors. Then going into custom audiences, which is something we spend time not only understanding but also building. Behaviors, automotive, financial, purchase behavior, travel, what devices we use, who does business to business, digital activity, all sorts. The reason Facebook knows all of this about us is that it monitors our activity all the time. We log into Facebook on our phone, our desktop, and our tablet, and we stay logged in. We are then active on email, we search websites, we watch movies, we do all sorts of things all day long. We email people, we engage with people in different ways, and Facebook is picking all of that up all the time and storing it into these huge big data warehouses. And the power is not someone sitting there going, oh my goodness, did you see what they just did? The power is saying, we have a product and here are people who need your product or who might like your product. You have to guide Facebook to find the right people, but they've got all that information on hand to put the picture together and find the right person. So there was a guy that sued Facebook because he wanted to know how much they knew about him, and they produced 1,200 pages of data in 57 categories. Could you even sit down and write up that much about yourself in one sitting? I very much doubt it. It also depends on how active you are on social media or on Facebook, how often, how many friends you have, even how active you are on your laptop or on your devices that you use. They're not necessarily going to have that much about everybody. They might have more about other people. So it all depends on the amount of activity, the number of followers, etc., etc. But it's very interesting. The power of the pixel is something that we'll dabble in. This is when you put Facebook advertising on steroids. And essentially what it is, and I'm sure you've seen this, so I went into Zando and I found purple Tommy Tackies and I opened them up and I actually put them into my cart and then decided not to buy for purposes of this exercise. When I went back into Facebook, the very first ad that popped up in my newsfeed was a Zando ad. It's not a product match, but it was literally the second post on my screen as I scrolled down. So that is immediate action, and that is because Facebook picked up that I was in the Zando site. It planted a cookie on my profile. As I went into Facebook, it says, here she is, and it feeds up the ad. That is the pixel at work. But it gets more powerful than that, because later on, it actually brought up the exact products that I'd been looking at. And they were on my news feed in the center and on the right-hand feed. So in two places right in front of my face is the product I was looking at. That is Facebook on steroids. And not every product is relevant for this kind of advertising, but the pixel has the power to help with any kind of advertising that we are wanting to do or any kind of product. We've just got to enhance it and use it properly. So that's the power that we want you to be able to tap into. It also decided that I obviously like clothing, so it put a competitor's ad up 2 posts later. So Facebook is constantly trying to serve us what it thinks we want to see and what it thinks we're going to like. And that is why it's building this profile of us all the time and gathering this information. But that's the power that it gives us as people trying to sell products. That's the symbol for the pixel. Basically, it's so easy that you don't have to do the work yourself. Facebook gives you all the information and you can send it off to your developer. So it literally gives you a piece of code that gets put onto your website. It goes straight through to your developer. They get told how to do it. There are different parts of the code that need to be installed, and that's as simple as it gets. So we'll go through the process of making that happen. Facebook offers a variety of types of ads. But before we even look at the types of ads, Facebook aligns itself with the sales process. So in the sales process, there's a sales funnel, which we're all familiar with by now because we've covered it in some of our lessons. The first phase is awareness, where either there's an awareness of a need or an awareness of a new product that we think we might need. Then you go through a process of considering which to buy or whether or not to buy. So there's this process of consideration. Then you go through the actual purchase, and ultimately you stay a customer and you start talking about that product to other people. So you become an advocate for that product. So all 4 phases are relevant to the sales process. Facebook hones its energy on the first 3. So there's awareness campaigns, consideration campaigns, and there are conversion campaigns. We look quite extensively at each of them, and we actually take you through a process of starting with an awareness campaign, growing into consideration campaign, and ultimately doing conversion campaigns. Conversion campaigns are the most powerful in terms of getting leads and generating leads for your business. But there's a time and place for all of them. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, Facebook lays out the whole process. You can see at that point you're at a campaign level and you're determining objectives. You then move into an ad set level where you start determining what traffic, what offer you're going to give, who you're targeting, where you want it placed, how much you're going to spend, and when you want it to run. And then you go into the third phase of the process, and that is determining what your ad is going to look like. So Facebook guides you through the whole process, and we'll take you through the tools that get you to this. On your own Facebook fan page, as it's called, so your business page, there are also multiple opportunities for promotions. So setting up promotions to talk to people locally near to your business, to promote your page, to get people to your website, to get them to make bookings if that's what's required for your business, to set up ongoing promotions. All of those things are there. They're not necessarily the most sensible way to spend your money, but they are useful in certain circumstances. There is also the ability to boost posts, and a lot of people think that boosting posts is advertising. It is not. Boosting posts is just pushing your post in front of people's faces. It doesn't mean that they are definitely the right people, and it doesn't mean that they're reading the posts or seeing them. It's a little bit like filling a stadium and not being sure that they're all watching the game. Advertising is quite specifically targeted with quite specific objectives, and you're more likely to fill the stadium and have people watching the game. And even if the stadium's not full, hopefully you've only paid for the people that have come and they're watching the game. In terms of the format, Facebook offers a few options. It's a carousel ad where you can have multiple videos or scrolling images. And the beauty there is that you can speak about quite a lot of different product features or business features in it, because each image can represent a different component of your business or of your product. A single image is the easiest to work with. And if you've got a single striking image, that's all you need. A video, obviously video is very powerful, both in terms of advertising and just in terms of getting people's attention. And finally, there's a slideshow where you're likely to have one image with a different message scrolling on each slide, and that can go up to 10 different messages that you can share with people. So quite a lot of versatility in terms of what you can do. And then the tools. Facebook gives you this dashboard that shows you everything. So first of all, in Ads Manager, there's obviously the frequently used panel on the left, but it helps you with planning. How do you look at your audience and get some insights about your audience? Creative Hub, which allows you to play around and practice creating adverts. Then you go into the whole creating and managing your ads. Then finally, measuring and reporting. Then there's an asset area where all of your assets like images and your pixel and all of the elements that belong to you are stored. And finally, your settings, which includes privacy settings, security settings, and who you give access to what in your profile. So that dashboard is available to you in the Ad Manager. In addition to that, there's this beautiful dashboard where you can see exactly what's happening all the time. Now, I haven't selected a time period that has any activity. These are previous ads, and I obviously took the screenshots now, so they're not showing any kind of amount spent or costs or anything. But this is essentially what you're able to see. So an overview of your account. Then you can see each campaign at campaign level, at ad set level, and at advert level. At campaign level, you determine your objective. If it's a conversion campaign you're running, you decide that. Then you decide how you want to split it out. Do you want to have more than one set of adverts? So would you, for example, have a set for Cape Town and a set for Durban and a set for PE? Would you have a set for different age groups? Would you have a different ad set for different audiences? Would you have different ad sets for males versus females, etc.? So you can then split at that level into different ad sets. And finally, your different images or your different videos. And in this particular case, if you have a look at the bottom here, we ran one conversion campaign with 3 different images. So your budget and everything is set at your ad set level, and you can run 3 different versions of the campaign, so 3 different images. And ultimately, Facebook will help you to determine which of those is your best performer, and you can proceed with a full-blown campaign with your best performing image, etc. And this is the process that you go through. It's not just the image you can test. At the first level, you'll probably test the image. At the next level, you'll test the headline. And at the next, you'll test copy. And that will walk you through this process a little more slowly later on in the program. In conclusion, as we've said, doing business and not telling anyone about it is not going to help you in any way at all. So a few thoughts as we close this introduction. Boosting posts is not advertising. If that's all you've been doing up until now, there's a whole new world waiting for you and a whole lot more power that you can put in your hands and a far better way to spend your money. But Facebook is not magic. You need to understand your audience particularly well. And sometimes that understanding matures over time. It's not something you just get from the start. Second of all, certain aspects of Facebook or certain elements and tools, like your Pixel, for example, they mature over time. So the longer you use it, the more effective it becomes. And then your understanding of your audience and what excites them and what kind of offers they respond to and what appeals to them, that matures over time as well. So don't think that Facebook is a silver bullet. It's not. A lot of people that have had huge successes with Facebook have either worked on it for a very long time and then suddenly been successful, so it appears to be an overnight success, but it's not. And others have actually started out with massive mailing lists and with massive audiences that they could tap into before they'd even touched Facebook. And yes, it looks like they're hugely successful, but that success has taken years to build. But Facebook advertising is easy to understand in terms of the nuts and bolts and putting it together. Facebook has made those dashboards and things so easy for you. Even the Pixel is something that only ad agencies used to be able to do. Now you have that power in your hands. It's also quite affordable to experiment. You can decide on spending 30 Rand a day or 50 Rand a day on a campaign to see whether it starts to get traction or not. You don't have to put a massive amount of budget into an advertising campaign before you can decide whether or not it's going to work for you. And that's the beauty. It's quite affordable to experiment, and it's okay to make mistakes as long as you make sure you manage those and manage the risk. You can make expensive mistakes if you rush into things and do them in too much of a hurry. But when you get it right, it works so well.